And now we will make the spine section. All right, what your pages are going to go onto. Okay, so move this out of the way for just a second. And you will need a piece. Actually, I'm going to do it with you here because I've already kind of scored mine. So you need a piece of cardstock that is 6 inches by 5.5 inches. Okay, so put your hinge piece in on the 5.5 inch side onto your scoreboard, and we are going to score at half, at 1.5, 2 1/4, 3 1/4, oops, 4, and 5. Okay, so that's half, 1.5, 2 1/4, 3 1/4, 4, and 5. And now we're going to flip it over and score again at 1, 2 3/4, and 4 1/2. Okay, put your scoreboard away. Now we're going to put some Tyvek onto this. So I've already got a piece of Tyvek. I've got the score tape on it, so I'm just going to remove all the backing. Alright, once you have all the backing off, put your Tyvek onto your piece that you just scored. Alright, and now we're going to fold on all of the score lines, okay? So anywhere that is a valley, that's going to be folding back, and the mountains are doing the opposite thing. So basically what you're doing is just kind of making accordion folds. So this was a valley, this was a mountain, this was a valley, so you're just doing it like that. Kind of back and forth. Sorry, some of that folding there was off camera, I just realized. So so you've got a 1/2 inch on either side, and then the next 2 1/2 inches pinch together to become one of the places that the page will hinge onto. And then you've got a 3/4 inch gusset space in between the pages. Then the other 2 1/2 inch sections will come together again like that. Another 3/4 inch space between the pages, and then the last 2 1/2 inch sections come together with one left over on the side. I hope that makes sense. Should look like this. Now we're going to put score tape. First we are going to put, so we'll do score tape in these little valleys. So there's 3 spots where it looks like a valley, right? So you have 3 of those spots, and those are going to adhere together. Okay, so score tape here, and they go together like that. Okay? You could probably get away with just doing it on one. No, well, yeah, really can. Okay. Remove the score tape backing, and then push those 2 1/2 inch sections closed together. Okay, so you get that. And then on the other side is that. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing here. Remove the score tape backing. Not sure why this isn't very flat. There we go. Okay, and then the third one. So push those two closed. So now you should have something that looks like this. So it's got 1, 2, 3 little flanges that the pages are going to sit onto. Okay, and then spaces in between. And it looks like that on the back. And now we're going to cover this with red line tape or something, or wet adhesive, something really strong, because this is now going to adhere onto our cover, okay, into the spine. So I'm going to use some red line tape. Then you would also need to put red line tape on the flanges, so on either side of the part that's going up into the page, okay? So I'm going to do that, and then we'll put it into our album. Okay, so once you have got all of your red line tape on these 3 sections and all over the back, you want to miter the corners of each of these flanges so that it's easier to get your pages in. It just helps that they have a easier channel. So okay, so see what I just did there? We were just mitering the corners like we always do on every page, so it's now at an angle. Okay, and now this is going to go right into the center of your spine. It will fit perfectly. Make sure it's nice and straight. And then really crease it down. And work with those hinges. Make sure everything has lots of flexibility. And that's why the Tyvek is there, because see these flanges, like they are going to get worked over the years, and this way they won't rip off, because that Tyvek is making it really strong. So you can just play with these and work with these and use your bone folder and get them all happy, moving well. Alright, but before we attach our pages, I want to do the interactive elements to the front and back covers. So that is going to be our next step. Okay, so once we have got our hinge spine part down, we are going to want to add, we're going to want to figure out what kind of closure you're going to want for the album. If you're doing just a simple ribbon closure, then you can do that really simply. Just put some ribbon adhered to the chipboard underneath your pattern paper on each side. However, if you are doing, I plan on doing a swivel clasp from Tim Holtz. Alright, and it's going to go around this pretty crystal. So because I want to do that, I need to attach it before I add my interactive elements on the front and back. So I've got my cover paper on the back, front, and the spine. I'm going to take my Crop-A-Dile, and in the center, about almost an inch in, I am going to punch a hole. Or maybe I'll go a full inch. Do I want to go? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so it looks pretty centered. Punch a hole. And now I'm going to put a rivet in there, and then use the Crop-A-Dile to close that rivet. So now it's closed on the back side. And now we want to feed this chain. I've got our little crystal on a chain. So feed the chain in a little ways. And then on the back side, grab a paper clip. Oops. Grab a paper clip and weave it through the very end of that chain. Okay, so you've got a paper clip on the end of the chain, which prevents it from going back out. Alright, and now we are going to do the same thing on the back. We are going to line it up best we can and punch a hole in the back cover. And I want to make sure that it's the same depth. I think I went all the way. And punch a hole. And then put your rivet in. Okay, so you've got your rivet. Close it up and do the same process. Put the chain through the hole and then a paper clip on the other side. Alright. Okay, so I've got a paper clip on either side. Now we just want to figure out how long we want these to be. It probably works out pretty good just like that, actually. So now we want to cover these paper clips with some score tape. So there is going to be a little bump where this paper clip is. So if you don't like that, you could, instead of a paper clip, you can use a super thin piece of wire or something like that. That would work as well. So we'll do that on both sides, and then we can add our interactive elements. To the inside. Okay. And now I had forgotten to do this, so the next section you will notice as we're adding our interactive elements that you don't see this because I had to redo this whole part because I forgot to put my clasps on. So if you're wondering in the next section as we're adding our interactive elements why you don't see this, it's because I forgot and had to do it all over again. So I'm doing it this way now, so don't make the same mistake I did. So move this out of the way for a moment. And the following pieces are what you will need for the front cover on the inside, the front inside cover. So your A piece is 6 7/8 by 9. 6 7/8 by 9. Your B piece is 5 1/4 by 7 1/2. Your C piece is 4 1/4 by 11. Okay, so just the 3 pieces. Bring in your scoreboard. Alright, so your A piece is going to be scored at half on the 9-inch side. So half on the 9-inch side. Your B piece will be scored at half on the 7 1/2-inch side. And your C piece will be scored at half on the 4 1/4-inch side. And then flip it over and turn it, and you're going to score again at 5 and at 10 1/8. Okay, so that's all the scoring we need to do. So take your scoreboard away, put your scoreboard away, and now We're going to add our score tape. So on A and B, it's just straightforward adding our score tape to these 1/2 inch sections. And then on C, we are going to cut these 2 1/2 inch sections off. We're just going to keep the center one. Okay, so cut along the score line until you hit that 10 1/8 score line, and cut that little bit off, and then cut in at the 5 inch score line and along here. Oh, that wasn't very straight. As straight as you can. I'm using the wrong scissors. Okay, so you have something that looks like that. You now have just this 1 1/2 inch section, and we are going to put score tape on it. And now we are going to miter the corners. So just cutting at an angle wherever there is score tape. And the last one. Okay, get rid of your biddies. And now we can bring in our cover again and start putting it together. So your A piece is going to go on the left hand side. Okay, so it's going right over here. Okay, so on the left hand side, and then your B piece is going to be centered onto A, turn and flipping to the right. So you have a choice here. You can either put your pattern paper down onto A first and then adhere your A piece, or you can adhere your B piece, I should say, your B piece now, and then do a border strip here. So this is totally your choice. So I am going to put my pattern paper on first. So I'm just going to adhere this piece down. And now remember that our first page, this is what our first page, the outside, looks like. So you want to try and match it. So I'm going with this in the background, but then I'm going to have some of those white snowy trees on top to make it all kind of work together. So put this down. Excellent. And now we can adhere this onto the center. That looks pretty centered. You can of course measure it to make it exact. And now you will have this little strip here, so you'll probably want some of the same paper right here as a little strip, just so it doesn't look funny. Or alternatively, you could actually cut a slit right into the A piece and the pattern paper and put this 1/2 inch section right through and adhere it on the back side. That's also an option. Alright, so then for C piece, we're going to fold on all of the score lines. So these two will fold in and this one will fold back. Okay. And this is going to go right on top of your B piece, like that. Okay, so this will open up to the left, and it will also open up. Then this will open to the right, and this will open to the left. Okay, so again, you can do the same thing. You can either add your pattern paper first, you can cut a slit in B and put it right through and adhere it onto the back of B, or you can just put it down and then have borders all the way around. So many options. I'm going to add my pattern paper. So here's where the trees are coming into play. So put that piece down. And then this on top. Okay, so like that, and now we are going to want to add some magnet. So, first we're going to add a magnet closing this little flap here. And then I'm going to show you a trick, because normally we would put a magnet here and then have the other one right here, but since we've already got our pattern paper, we can put it on the back and still make it work. So I'll show you how we can do that in just a sec. So let's first put this magnet on. Score tape, there it is. Okay, so a little piece of score tape here. And 2 magnets. Score tape again. And close it up. So there's that one. Now, put a little piece of score tape here, as you normally would, and put 1 magnet. Okay, and now close this, open this, and let a magnet adhere to its counterpart on this side. And then make some kind of little mark so you know exactly where that's supposed to go. Take the magnet off. Put a little piece of score tape on top of that mark. And then let your magnet adhere again. And there you go. So now that magnet's working in a different way. So now we're going to do the same thing. Or actually this one's straightforward. This one's just a magnet going to the base page. So we'll just do that. Out of frame. There we go. So a little piece of score tape there. 2 magnets, another piece of score tape, and close it up. Alright, so now we can add the rest of our pattern paper. So I just realized that I don't... Do I have one for here? Oh yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, okay, perfect. So let's start back here. Alright, so place that down. And then over here, what did I have? Okay, so I had a journaling spot and then some more of that tree. Okay, so we'll put that down. Okay. Alright, and that's that. Now we'll work on, oh, first we need a piece on the other side of this. So I'm going to put that piece there, and I just need to cut a little piece for this. So 1/2 inch by 5 1/4. So I'm just going to quickly cut that. And this is why it's good to keep even the like the tiniest little scraps, because this will work pretty much perfectly to be an extra little strip. I got another one. I've got, oh no, it's a different piece of paper. Alright, so we'll put that there. Little 1/2 inch section. Okay, put that down. This could be a smidge wider, but I'm okay with that tiny little bit of black showing. If you're not, then make it a little bigger. Alright, ooh, which side do I like better? I think I might like that side better. Yeah. Put that down. And then your pieces for this. This is going to go in the center. And then this over here, but it's a smidge long, so I'm just going to cut that down just a tiny bit. This one's also a smidge long. Okay, so that's going to go on that side. And then I've got 2 little strips for here. Okay, that goes there. And then our little strips. That's on the outside. Oh, it's a little crooked. Let's see if we can't get that a little straighter. And I've got some extra score tape. There, that's better. Okay, and then we lift this up and put this here. And then I just need a little piece for right here. Just do a little 1/2 inch strip of this. And then this just goes on like this. It doesn't quite line up with the trees, but it's enough for me. And then that closes like that, and there is your inside front cover. So now we're going to set this aside, and we are going to get our pieces ready for the back side of our cover.